single panel is up on YouTube right now. Every one of us can access this. The team behind TDeFi has put together something that, at least in the Future Blockchain Summit, is unprecedented. And for that, I would like to invite all of you, even the guys standing in the back, to give the TDeFi team, our host, a huge round of applause, please. Gaurav, that was your applause, but that's okay. You missed it. It's fine. So it's an absolute honor and a pleasure to sit here to share something with you that I believe, if it was for Roland Berger, who's one of the oldest consultancies and boutique consultancies out of Germany, if you don't know Roland Berger, that's fine. But you know all of Roland Berger's clients. You know Mercedes, you know Volkswagen, you know all of these German brands that wouldn't be what they are today without Roland Berger. And on stage today, I am joined by Pierre, who had the foresight with his partner Feroz to develop something called the crypto economy for Roland Berger. I'm very happy that we're here today to talk about this report, where I believe it is going to be the most impactful thing coming out of the crypto oasis. Pierre, I'm very happy that you're here with me. Very excited that we're here together.
Thanks, Saka. Likewise. And also from my end, big thanks to TDeFi for hosting us here. I think really amazing job together with our friends from Crypto Oasis and building this community.
Right. And without further ado, we're here to talk about the report. The report is something that TDeFi is mentioned it. It's something that Roland Berger and ourselves has developed in partnership. And today we're at a point where each and every one of you can download this report to figure out what this ecosystem is all about. We keep saying Dubai is the biggest, Dubai is the greatest, the UAE is, you know, always wants to be the best and the brightest in everything that they do. But today you actually have access to the numbers that back this up. And for the next 20 to 30 minutes, what we're going to do is we're going to dissect key elements and talk about what Roland Berger has done in this space. So just a quick one, Pierre, maybe as a quick introduction. You're a traditional consultant. Why would you bother with crypto, blockchain, and the likes?
Yeah, good question. And I think a lot of our competitors are exactly asking themselves the same question. However, I think for us, it was very clear that blockchain, DLT, and the entire kind of what we call crypto economy is one of the key trends for all sectors that we're advising for the coming decades that will significantly, in part, shift their business model. So I have a firm belief that at one point in time, maybe not all companies become crypto companies, but that the economy as we know it itself will turn into a crypto economy, in the sense there will be cryptographic blockchain elements in most of the sectors that we know today.
And I buy into that 100%. I don't believe that blockchain, crypto, NFTs, Metaverse will impact one element of the economy and one not. I think we will move slowly but surely from what we know today, which is the Internet of Information, to the Internet of Value, which is Web3. Right? Now, with that being defined, the crypto economy, what is that?
Yeah. So basically, again, coming to the point that it's our belief that at one point in time, there is an economy that's fully transformed by crypto. So we dissected this into 7 trends, basically. So the way we look at the crypto economy also for our clients is there is a future of finance trend, which is all about CeFi, DeFi, digital asset adoption of classic corporates.
Right.
There is asset tokenization, so revolutionizing the way we fund, manage, trade assets, whether it's physical assets that are not liquid today or digital assets.
Right.
Third one is the obvious one, the rise of the Metaverse.
Right.
And I have something interesting to share when we talk about the survey results.
Okay.
Maybe something that not everyone would expect. Number 4 element is supply chain improvement. So using the tech to have counterfeit protection and so on and so forth. Number 5 is Web3 and the data economy. So really, as you mentioned, the transition from our classic platform-based web to a network-based web that will disrupt a lot of the disruptors of the last decade, actually.
Right.
Number 6 is crypto mining and staking.
Okay.
And then the underlying trend that we're focusing on, that is kind of the glue to all of this, or let's say the catalyst of really scaling this, is digital identity.
Right.
Right.
And why do you think digital identity lies at the foundation of all of this?
Yeah. Because I think solving this digital identity case in a proper way, in a self-sovereign identity way, is the key catalyst for all of these 7 verticals, because none of these verticals will really scale on a corporate institutional level if you cannot have an identity system, because corporates and institutions, they need to understand who they deal with, right? They need to have a certain level of KYC, AML whenever it's required. That's why digital identity is absolute key. The other thing is, if we think about it from a user point of view, we don't want to sign up to 5, 6 different wallets. Ideally, there's just one Web3 wallet which holds my digital identity credentials, which allows me to log into with my bank, with my utility provider, and whatnot.
Right. Okay. Changing gears a little bit to go to that amazing survey that you did. But before we go to that survey, right, to anyone here, and just by a show of hands, right, who's here heard about Roland Berger before? Wow. Okay. That's a great representation. Roland Berger is a boutique consultancy out of Germany, but an international consultancy fully owned by their partners. Tell us a little bit more about the type of clients you work with, because that will be the perfect segue to the survey that you did.
Yeah, happy to do that. So we're a classic strategy consulting firm. So our clients are the big corporates, sovereign funds, governments, small, medium enterprises as well, because we pride ourselves a bit with very in-depth know-how in the fields that we're in. But it's basically institutions and clients that are not in crypto today.
Very interesting. And then you went out and you had the foresight to actually share a survey with all of these clients. That survey provided some amazing insights, and those amazing insights are accessible to each and every one of you in the report. If you download it and you view it, you can download it on cryptooasis.ae. I'd like to dissect these insights as well. Tell us a little bit more about the survey.
Yeah, so what we've done is, now that we're working in this space for quite some time, it was clear that we needed to expand kind of the temperature check to all of the industries that Roland Berger is working on. So we've sent out a survey to C-level executives and innovators in more than 10 different industries. We got around 150 to 160 really valid replies to that survey. And we asked them about their thoughts on the impact of the 7 trends that we see forming the crypto economy.
Okay. And what are the key insights, or give me a little bit of a deep dive, because this is really interesting, right? These are traditional organizations that aren't normally in this space, that now we're asking, hey, what do you think of this space? But before we do that, if you'd ask a traditional corporation, how many of you would think that the metaverse would be top of mind for them? Okay. How many of you would imagine that the digital identity is top of mind for them? Supply chain? All right. Okay. Now let's hear the facts.
All right. So I think the audience was actually quite spot on. So that's actually great. So let me start with the most surprising thing. I mean, the metaverse is obviously a very hyped up topic at the moment. And we see a lot of, let's say, institutions really FOMOing into metaverse activities. What I tend to believe, for the sake of FOMOing in, right? For the sake of saying I'm there. And for those of you that have been around long enough in our industry, you remember maybe that Long Island iced tea story from 2018.
Yeah.
Okay. For those of you that don't remember it, so there was a company in 2018 on the New York Stock Exchange called Long Island Iced Tea. They rebranded to Long Island Blockchain. And after the rebrand, so without any reason, there was no blockchain activity, nothing. After the rebrand, the share price went up like 30%. I think they got sued after that.
They did by the SEC.
But they got their sugar high from doing that, right?
Right.
So we see a similar hype at the moment with institutions on Metaverse, going into it for the sake of getting the credit in the markets. But the interesting piece that we found out when we asked the executives, like, how do you see the impact of the metaverse of your business in the next 5 years? It was ranked pretty low. It was ranked at 2 out of 5, right?
Wow.
And it doesn't correlate with the amount of projects we're seeing in the metaverse. So
Right.
tells you executives are very smart, right?
Yeah.
So they know that they kind of need to be part of it, but no one's expecting a real gain out of it.
Share. So that's a rather surprising insight. I love the fact that the audience actually caught up to that. But see, you guys are part of the 1% of the 1%, the guys that are finding out about this right now, that are understanding this space. Tell us a little bit more about the insights in the report.
Yeah, so I think the other interesting thing, and I mean, your question already gave a bit of the answer to that, is the number one thing executives and corporates are worried about now, or let's say have an eye on, is digital identity.
Right.
Exactly because of the fact that they know I cannot scale all of these businesses without having a proper digital identity, which, depending on what business you're in, I need to have to show to my regulator, I need to have it to show to my shareholders or to my compliance team that I know who I'm dealing with.
Right.
Yeah.
So digital identity being one of them. I'm interested if you can share with the audience, what are the steps that companies are taking towards digital identity?
Yeah, so one surprising thing as well, so, or maybe not surprising thing, but one insight that followed up to that, because we've not only done the survey, we've also did follow-up interviews to better understand a few of these valuations. So a lot of the companies are looking into digital identity, but no one wants to solve it on their own. They all see that it's going to be a collective effort.
Right.
And it's going to be an association, or at least an industry corporation, to get something in place.
That's very interesting.
That's why I think you see a lot of associations like ID Union, for instance, in Germany, and others, to really work on standards for the industry. So I think everyone's doing it at least in the right way, in the sense that it's a team sport effort.
Right.
We need to protect data privacy. That's also very clear. I think that's, for me, also the good news. Everyone that we talked to understood that we need to have a self-sovereign identity, right? It's not about a corporate identity where actually one hack and you're screwed.
Yeah.
It needs to be a self-sovereign identity.
And I buy into that. So I maintain that the holy grail of blockchain will be to figure out how we do identity and figure out digital identity. We've seen solutions on this stage, actually, that have started solving this. And and again, on the thought leadership that this stage is providing to the world, to see companies that are and at the foresight that are developing this digital identity that is self-sovereign. Switching gears a little bit, talking about supply chain. So supply chain as we know it was disrupted massively in 2020, right? We have started putting manufacturing sites all around the world away from where we need the product, and suddenly realized that if the supply chain breaks down, we are not able to arrive at the products. The next challenge that 2020 brought us that wasn't there before is suddenly we needed to ensure, one, the entire supply chain for vaccinations that were sent all around the world. Two, we needed to ensure the authenticity of a vaccine that is being given to billions of people. Share with us a little bit on the insights that you were able to gain from the survey on supply chain.
So supply chain is seen already as, I think, the most mature use case.
I agree with that. Yeah.
Which fits to the applications that we see. So in terms of impact, it was kind of ranked medium. And I think it's a field that is solved from a technology point of view. And a lot of, let's say, big tech providers, whether it's IBM or you name it, have already
you named it IBM.
Yeah.
So
have already
shout out to the old company I was working for.
have already quite advanced solutions for that, right? So people don't expect a lot of, let's say, innovation because the tech is ready, right?
Right.
So this is a classic enterprise use case application.
And therefore, also your respondents responded that this is something that's more on top of mind.
No, actually, I think they ranked it kind of medium because they're already working on it behind closed doors. right? So there are a lot of supply chain projects going on already.
Right, and those are moving more and more into the mainstream. What are other insights that are interesting for our viewers? I mean, this is going on YouTube, and also for the audience where we have a full house.
Yeah, I think the other very interesting piece is that Web3 and the data economy was seen as the most single trend with the biggest business impact, right? And that's interesting because, you know, sometimes it takes a bit of time for people to understand really what is this Web2 to Web3 shift about. And I mean, Elon had this famous tweet in February, like, where's Web3? I can't find it, right?
Right.
And I think to a certain extent, we're still missing, obviously, like live use cases. But it was very interesting to see, and also in the follow-up interviews, that C-level executives are quite aware that there can be a shift. And you know, as a consultant, if you've been in the industry for 5-6 years, then in the last innovation cycle, then in all of the industries you've heard similar quotes. No matter of what industry you were in, it was always like, I want to be the Uber of, right?
Right.
I want to become the Uber of energy, the Uber or the Airbnb of something, right?
Right.
Now we are at the stage where people realize that Web3 can actually disrupt Uber.
Right.
Right. So there's a lot of thinking going on already behind closed doors on what are traditional Web2 models where maybe I, as a corporate, didn't have a chance to be the king. How could I benefit and provide the Web3 infrastructure that would kind of disrupt these platform business models that are out today? That's one.
Mm-hmm.
Second is the entire data topic.
Yeah.
Right. So now, thanks to the technology, thanks to the incentive system that it provides us, we finally have an option to pass on data, to monetize data, and to exchange data in a very secure way with price discovery, with microtransactions. And that unlocks, I think, the dream we all had about the data economy, which then ended up in being a very centralized kind of data silo economy.
With a couple of companies owning all of it.
Exactly.
And you guys actively support a protocol around this as well. Tell us a little bit more.
So yeah, the other thing that we had in the report, and that was kind of our first edition, is we looked through like 50 different companies, and we had a small exercise which we called the Crypto Innovation Spotlight, where we picked like three different companies, and one of them where we're very excited about the use case. Again, no financial advice, yeah, but the use case really excites us. It's Ocean Protocol. These guys, by the way, are with our friends at Cypher Capital, the booth over there.
Right.
Ocean is exactly feeding into this use case. So providing an infrastructure that allows you to share and monetize data, but also gives you the really cool feature that if you are the owner of a data set, you don't need to share the data set with me, but you can give my algorithm access to this data set.
Okay.
And then my algorithm creates the result that whatever I want to have out of your data set. And that opens up a whole new, let's say, opportunity space for monetizing data and for unlocking data that has not been used so far.
So you shared that this was the first version of this report. How do you see this evolving? Do you think this is going to be an annual thing, a biannual thing?
Yeah, so we're aiming for this to be biannual. It should be along, let's say, our 7 trends that I mentioned in the beginning. By the way, these 7 trends, in sneak preview, could turn 8 trends in the next iteration that we have.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. But we're trying to do this biannually. We're mainly focusing really on the technology itself, on the founding team and the tech and the sophistication of the technology.
That's super. What we've heard from you is essentially trends of this crypto economy. We've heard why a traditional organization, quote unquote traditional organization like Roland Berger, is putting more and more effort into this. We've heard how the majority of executives don't necessarily care about the metaverse just yet. It's on their horizon, but they don't believe it will have major impact. And we've heard how digital identity will play a key role in this new economy that is being driven. One of the most interesting insights here, again, out of the panel, is to see that data and the ownership of data and the exchange of data is turning into more and more of a front of mind issue for each and every one of us. You can find out, Pierre is going to be around here, so please feel free to grab him. If I haven't said it one too many times, and if it isn't prominent enough up there, if you haven't downloaded your report copy, please make sure you do so. You can do so on cryptooasis.ae, and you can download the report. It's free to use. Feel free to share it with your network. One more time, a big thank you to the TDeFi team. You guys have done an absolutely amazing job here. This has been a fantastic 3 days, and I'm very happy to have had the chance to be here with Pierre, talk about the insights that Roland Berger has had. A big round of applause, everyone. Thank you.